Hi, I'm Paul McGUIRE, and I told you in the last edition of the program, the Paul McGUIRE Report, that I was going to share with you a key that would open the lock to a prison door of the prison that you're living in, but most likely you don't realize you're living in a prison. But you are. And I gave you the historical account of ancient Babylon and the Pharaoh God-King system in Egypt, and the modern globalist elite today who use scientific mind control, hypno-trance states, and other forms of propaganda and brainwashing and persuasion and indoctrination to control you, to erase from your memory, like the sci-fi action adventure film Eraserhead. They erased his memory. They have erased from your memory the truth about your identity, the truth about your very high level of intelligence. And I ended the program with the truth that I communicated to you directly. And the fact is that you may be so convinced that this is not true, but it is the truth. You are a genius. You are so gifted, so talented, that your level of your gifting and your talents and abilities is literally off the charts. Now, I understand that when I say that, I'm causing many of you to be very interested, but there's a fair percentage of you that are reacting according to your programming. And you're immediately saying, oh, that can't be true. That can't be true. Oh, this guy is, full of blank. All right? That's what you're saying. And why are you saying that automatically without thinking about it? I want to challenge you. Quit daydreaming. Quit daydreaming right now and pay attention. Why do you automatically answer the statement? I'm telling you, you're a genius and you've been given all these gifts, and without even thinking about it, you automatically, in a nanosecond, tell yourself that this is crazy talk, this guy's full of you-know-what, and it can't possibly be true. But you didn't even spend 3 seconds thinking about it. What is it in you that causes you to automatically, like you're programmed, like you're brainwashed, to respond with a total denial of a thought that you really haven't spent 5 seconds researching whether it's true or not? Why are you so insistent in defending the reality based on a lie that you're not a genius, that you're not gifted? I want to challenge you on that. I'm going to tell you something directly and in love, confrontationally. The fact that you automatically respond to total denial regarding the fact that you are a genius and exceptionally gifted is proof that it's not you blocking it out. It's the programming embedded in you that you're not aware of in your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind is where all programming and mind control is directed. So your conscious mind is not aware of it, but your subconscious mind has been programmed strategically from childhood to believe in an artificial reality about the world, about existence, and most of all, about yourself, the truth of your identity, and who you really are. Now, you need to put the pause switch on the stream of thoughts that are coming from your programming. You need to tell those voices to shut up because they're not your voice. Notice carefully that the voices that are telling you, well, this guy doesn't, he's talking about, he's saying, I'm a genius, I don't believe that. Notice that those voices are not you speaking to yourself. Where are those voices coming from? They're coming from the programming you've received. Let's start with a basic fact to get you educated and up to speed, because I've spent 40 years researching the topic that I'm talking about. I would venture to say you haven't spent 4 seconds. So before you draw the conclusion that you're not a genius and you're not incredibly gifted, I think you owe me a little bit of a hearing, because your 4 seconds of research doesn't really come close to my 40 years of research. You need to understand the basics of reality. And by the way, you have no clue what the basics of reality are because you were programmed not to know. Okay, here's how it works. Ancient secret societies developed a means of brainwashing the average man and woman, the masses, to become their slaves by a threefold process. Number one, they used sorcery and magic and brainwashing to brainwash the masses of people into believing they were gods, God kings, God queens. That's number one. Number two is they brainwashed the people to be their slaves, and the people joyously chose to be the slaves of these God kings and queens because they thought they were worshiping God. They thought their slavery was a service to God. So they were programmed to be slaves. But furthermore, these God kings erased any memory these people had of who they really were and who they used to be. They forgot it all. So they didn't know that once upon a time, they were alive, or their ancestors were alive, and their ancestors were like geniuses and super intelligent and had all these gifts and talents until they were conquered in the battlefield of their minds and put into a hypnotrance. Now, the secret of this is secret. That's why they get away with it. That's why we have secret societies. Secret societies are conveyor units for passing along this secret occult information. And by the way, it's occult information. We're dealing with what the ancient super civilizations commonly knew. And they knew this as a common fact, the elite class did. They knew that science and magic were one and the same thing. They didn't have separate compartments like we do in our modern world where you say, well, magic is over here and science is over there. No, in the ancient world, science and magic were one because the ancient world understood the continuous spectrum of thought where occult supernatural power, magic, sorcery was just an extension of science and technology. Now, we move into our time period now, and the same occult control system is being implemented on you, your family, your friends, America, and nations all over the world. Through the usage of media, through the usage of education from the earliest ages, primarily through television and other things, music, you have been programmed 24/7 to believe all these ideas about the world, about yourself, that are false, for the purpose that this globalist elite, the God Kings, want to make you a prisoner in your mind and enslave you. You are a member of a race of slaves, and in the words of Aldous Huxley, Sir Aldous Huxley, a member of the British elite and an expert on mind control, who authored the book Brave New World, Huxley said these words. He said, in a truly effective scientific dictatorship, that's what you live in, by the way. In a truly effective scientific dictatorship, men and women can be programmed to be slaves and not even know they're slaves. Huxley continued that you can program men and women so efficiently with scientific mind control and brainwashing that you can program them to love their actual duties as slaves. And again, they won't even know they're slaves and they will love their slavery. That is how the elite secretly control the world. Now, this wasn't just said by Huxley, it was said by thousands of members of the intellectual elite of the scientific community. Brzezinski, who wrote a book in 1976, and he was the right-hand man to Rockefeller, one of the richest men in the world, and they created, among other organizations, the Trilateral Commission. Brzezinski used the term the technocratic elite and said that, right in his book, published openly in front of the eyes of all the people who can't see the truth, even when it's staring them in the face. Brzezinski said about a technocratic elite, which was his term for the scientific dictatorship, that you can use technotronic weapons and psychotronic weapons to control the masses through scientific brainwashing and mass surveillance. He wrote this in 1976. What were the psychotronic weapons? Advanced technologies and sciences that allow the elite to program people using science and technologies that I don't have time to go into now, but you can read about it in my book, Conquering the Matrix, and my book, A Prophecy of the Future of America, and my book, Mass Awakening. You need to be aware of these technologies of mind control. Now, Brzezinski knew that everything from a specific frequency, an EMF wave, which is a brain wave, can be transmitted from an exterior location into your mind, and that brainwave being transmitted into your mind from an exterior location can contain programming, symbols, messaging, commands, induce you in a hypnotic state, and you won't even know what happened to you. Most of you aren't even aware of the fact that every time you sit down and watch television, you are being bathed in 10 Hz waves. That's right, you're being bathed in 10 Hz waves. Now, why would you be bathed in 10 Hz waves? Because that's an EMF wave, a brain wave. And the 10 Hz wave is called an alpha wave. The alpha wave is a hypnotic sedative wave. The person being bathed in the 10 Hz alpha wave is put into a mild trance state, which produces an optimistic, slightly euphoria, but it also enables them to learn and receive as much information as you pour into them subliminally. So it's the perfect technology for mind control. People say it's great for learning, but it has one fatal flaw. The 10 Hz state has one fatal flaw. It turns off your mind's ability to critically think, to evaluate whether you're being lied to or told the truth, and to discriminate or discern. So your mind under a 10 Hz wave just sucks in and remembers and receives everything in the subconscious. So the sum total of all this programming, it has been concealed from you from childhood that there is a God, there is a creator. Instead, you were taught to believe this ridiculous fairy tale that you came from monkeys over 500 million years of random chance evolution. But they took out of the core of your identity the truth that you are a child of God, and God creates every one of his children for the purpose of a powerful destiny. And without exception, this powerful God, the God of the Bible, the Creator, created you and me and everyone you know. He created you with the intelligence level of a genius. And he also downloaded in you, before the beginning of the creation of this world, an enormous amount of talents, abilities, and giftings. But you're completely unaware of it. You're completely unaware of the vast treasure that lives inside you. But at any moment you choose, if you choose to break out of the trance state, if you choose to walk out of the trance state and the mind control, at any time you choose, including now, that's right now, anytime you choose, you can take out a key God has given you, called the keys of the kingdom. You can stick it in the lock of a prison they created for your mind. You open the door by unlocking the lock with the key of the kingdom that God gave you, and you are a free man and woman. Now, if you will walk in that faith and allow the God of the universe to continue the downloading process, he will flood your mind with intelligence, answers, guidance, supernatural understanding of technology, science, your life, how to create a business, how to have a prosperous marriage. You will be able to open up to a source of the most powerful download, the most powerful intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, and history. And your life will be radically changed. You will be truly free. You will no longer be a slave working on somebody's plantation. You will be free. Now you say, I don't believe that. You know why you say you don't believe that? Because your programming is telling you not to believe that. It's not you that's not believing it. It's the programming in you that's not believing it. And you say, how could all this be possible? I want to deprogram you for a minute. Let's look at real history, not the make-believe history you learned in public school. Here's just one example of real history. I'm going to give you the names of three men. Okay? They were told in childhood that they were mentally retarded. They were told in childhood that they had serious learning disorders. They were told in childhood that they were too stupid to go to school. You've never heard the true story of this in school because they don't want you to know it. One of the men I'm talking about is Albert Einstein, the great physicist that revolutionized physics and created his famous equation E=mc². That's one man. The other man is Nikola Tesla, a man who discovered infinite amounts of free energy that you could draw instantaneously from another dimension. And Tesla invented and implemented technologies that could have revolutionized our world for the better, because he was experiencing a continual download of answers to the highest level questions. You know why it's not being implemented? Because this secret occult elite that create slaves hid the secrets so they could continue to make money on oil and other primitive means of energy development. So they hid his truth and research. And then I want to mention to you a man named Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb and the phonograph and the motion picture projector and about 100 other items that you use in your household. One man, Thomas Edison. What was the common denominator between these three men? And I want you to pay attention because it's a direct reflection of your life. All of them were told by their experts, the teachers, the authorities, that they were stupid, they were retarded, they had learning disorders, they better give up on anything but menial, being a janitor or whatever. All three were repeatedly told constantly that they were idiots, stupid, and basically they were going to be a complete failure. All three of them shook the entire world, and all intelligent people and educated people know their names. And their technologies and sciences that they discovered were earth-shaking. But they did not gain the information by traditional means of getting wisdom, scientific developments, and technology. In other words, they didn't work by the mythological system of blood, sweat, and tears, and sweating it out and getting out calculators or notepads and spending 20 years trying to do a formula. You need to pay attention to that. You need to pay attention to what I just said. They learned how to instantaneously receive a download of scientific, technological solutions in seconds from another dimension. They didn't think, learn, create, and act like the robots all around you. They tapped into another dimension and they pulled in from another dimension unlimited science, knowledge, power, wisdom that was unbelievable to the normal man. That is not an accident. That access to an open door of an enormous download of information is available to you, especially if you receive Christ into your life. I'm not talking about some funky Christian religious trip. I'm talking about receiving Christ in your life. When you do that, if you will seek the face of God and ask God for wisdom, He will give you wisdom. If you ask God for freedom, He'll give you freedom. He will free you from the slave mentality, because that's a lie that has been put on you. He will set you free from mind control. He will break the hypnotic trance, and you will walk in freedom and power and destiny for the rest of your life. All you have to do is develop a little mustard seed of faith to initiate the download. Now, that's exciting. It's real. Don't go back to your programmed state. Walk in freedom. I'm Paul McGuire. Visit paulmcguire.us. That's paulmcguire.us.